Well, we got a special guest presenter this evening, Adam Tarr. Take it away, Adam.
All right, so this is actually my office where I'm sitting at right now. I know I've been an AMC guy for 20 plus years, and well, probably longer than that, since the mid 90s when I got my first AMC is a 1969 Big Bad Blue Mod Javelin. And somewhere around 2004, I was in San Diego, stationed there with the Navy, and I went to a vintage road race event, and there was a Trans Am Javelin there, and I just got hooked on AMC racing stuff. So for the last 20 plus years, I find stuff, I collect stuff. So what you're seeing here is just sort of part of the mess of my office. There's more stuff behind me, but those are team shirts and jackets from different people up on the wall there, and of course the models. And the top right, those are actually NASCAR Javelin trophies. Checkered flag back there is actually, I'll show you a picture of it when we get going here. The original checkered flag for the Paul Revere Daytona race in 1970 that the Javelin won. Funny thing, I was in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and the 1971 flag is hung up in Charlotte. So pretty cool that I was able to get that. But above my mess of a printer, there are some actual AMC pants that came off of a pit crew guy who was on the Penske Matador, NASCAR team in 1974. And then all those folders are just full of stuff, mostly organized. I got to a point where my wife was like, I'm pushing 50. I'm not, about to die at any moment, but she's like, what are you gonna do with all this stuff? I don't know. So we started talking about maybe places to donate it or, that sort of stuff. Got in this discussion of making a book, and sort of that's what I want to click through some slides here. I started making a book that's just focused on the NASCAR Javelin effort, because I think it's sort of underappreciated and it's just sort of overshadowed by the Trans Am guys. I've met some of the existing folks who are involved in that. It was just an amazing effort. I was lucky enough to just get a bunch of stuff to get this book going together. Give you guys a quick show here. So that video, actually, Jim Pascal, the driver of the 27 car there, his son, who's shared a lot of stuff with me, had that video on a old 16 millimeter piece of film that he let me borrow, and I digitized it. That's the only video I've ever seen of the NASCAR Javelins. There were 5 total NASCAR Javelins, 3 Warren Prout built, and there was the 2 Hearst ones. I don't know if any of them really exist anymore. What you're seeing here is the book I actually made, and it's probably like 90% done. It's sort of been a labor of love, but that's what this is my prototype. I ordered 1 prototype. There you're seeing the back of it. The book is really full of stuff I'm going to tell you like nobody's ever seen before. And I'm going to click through a few examples to share with you guys what's all in there. There's just a table of contents, and this is all sort of working copy stuff. It's about 300 pages, so it's a pretty lengthy book, and it's mostly heavy on pictures and news articles and original documents. Here's just a couple pictures. I took a couple quick screen grabs from inside of it. Those pictures on the right there, I actually got from the NASCAR archives. I'd actually pay to get those licensed, but they dug those up for me. Here's some more pictures. That picture on the top left, there's a series of those in the book. Those are actually from Jim Pascal's son. Those have never been seen before anywhere. Here's some of the cool stuff that's in there. This is to dig up 2 of the 3 NASCAR Javelin contracts, and they're in the book. So this is the 1970 contract that Warren Prout and Jim Pascal got to build the team, and it goes through, it's several pages long and talks about what the money involved and what the deliverables are and these sort of things. I have this now. This is the original copy, as you can see, signed in ink. I think that's John Vopel. He was an AMC guy, and then you got Warren Prout underneath there. Then over on the right, you got Bill McNeely, who's AMC guy, and then Jim Pascal down on the bottom. So I got this contract and I got the Hearst performance contract from 1969 as well. They're in the book. I mean, those things only exist in my office here amongst all these papers. So there's things like that that are in there. No one's really ever seen before. Here's a document from inside the book talking about signed and ink from John Vopel to Bob Tarazzi, who was running the Hearst Javelin program. Telling him, to use the name, Hearst Javelin Racing Team for reference for the Grand Touring division in NASCAR. So that's like an original American Motors document. This is an order form that Hearst had sent to AMC for parts. And as you can see, they ordered 6 Edelbrock, cross ram manifolds and some connecting rods and some other things. A few of these in there that sort of show, what it looked like when these guys ordered parts for their teams. This is a great letter. This is from Tarazzi from the Hearst team and Prout from the Huggins Javelin team, requesting that the Mallory ignition system be available through Group 19 so they could use it on their cars. And as we all know, that was added to the Group 19 parts list. So it's pretty cool that those parts got put in there, basically because these guys sort of partitioned for it. And again, this is an original American Motors, interdepartmental letter there. And the guy up top there, Walt Zarnicki on the 2 section, great guy, still works for Penske to this day. He's a great guy to talk to about some of this stuff. Here's another cool memo that they sent out, basically telling the Javelin NASCAR teams the uniforms that they're allowed to wear on the team. And as you can see, the shirts there, which a couple of those are hanging on my wall here. And then, of course, the light jackets that you see regularly, and then the heavy leather jackets, which are super hard to find. There's a couple actually out at Rambler Ranch, Tom. If you looked up in that main building up on the wall, he's got John Martin from the Trans Am team and George Hearst from the Hearst NASCAR Javelin team. That's a pretty cool letter. Here's some pictures that are going to be in there. There's a whole series of these construction photos of the Hearst Javelin being built. Here's a receipt Hearst sent to American Motors for the $20,000 that they were due as initial payment to build up the car. That's in the contract. Here's just a picture, a cool picture of the 2 drivers in '69. You got Jim Pascal on the left and Bob Tullius on the right, holding up the little promo model. Another great picture that I've never seen anywhere else. It's going to be in the book. You got Bob Tullius and these girls wearing Hearst shirts, which I've never seen one of those Hearst shirts ever again. And they actually have Hearst Javelin patches on their shoulders. I've never seen anybody else ever wearing those shirts. And that's at the '69 Daytona race.
That's Linda Vaughn in the middle, Adam.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
Linda. I don't know the other 2, but of
No,
course
I don't either. Yeah.
she was very famous. Of all the things that have popped up over the years, I've never seen a picture with those shirts in it or anyone, just showing up somewhere.
Linda's still got a lot of the uniforms and stuff. I may ask her about that.
Yeah, that would be interesting if you could find that out. I would love to know that,
Yeah.
and
Are those Scrambler H patches?
Yeah, on the front, and then
Yeah.
on the shoulder is the Hearst Javelin patch.
But I think the front might be Scrambler H.
Correct.
Okay, I'll ask her about it.
Also, I got this from the NASCAR archives. That's the flag that's hanging in my office right now in that picture frame. After they won the race there, those are the Union Showstopper girls on the ends, and Miss Paul Revere there standing next to Jim Pascal. So it's a lot of just stuff like that in that book. It's, like I said, it's going to be about 300 pages of just pictures, documents, race results, all these sorts of things that I've been working on. And it's coming close to completion. There's so many pictures.
How do I order this book? I want this book, Adam.
So I funded this whole thing myself, and, licensing fees and stuff. And, a lot of the stuff adds up, and it's not necessarily a cheap process, but I want to make them as available as possible. So I think, Tom, I'm going to do a Kickstarter type of crowdsourcing for pre-sales, and that'll just allow me to give people the option to pre-order them, and I can help me keep track of the orders and all that sort of stuff. And I'm in the process of putting that together. So I put the Kickstarter to try to raise $2,000 to basically print the first 50 books, hopefully be for sale after that. These are some of my projects going on. So this is my street Javelin. It's a 1970 base model 304 3-speed manual car. This is my one street car. I love the base model 70s, but I have another base model 70 that's a 360 4-speed factory car, which I don't even know how many base model 364 speeds they made, but it had to have been just a few hundred. There's the inside of it. with the base model dash. All right, so this car here, as a avid AMC race collector, I have to own a couple race cars. So I actually own this car right here. This is the 1979 IMSA Spirit. Team Highball built it, factory sponsored car. It needs restored. There's a good picture of it. I like. That's a 6-hour race they won at Daytona. So that's Dennis Shaw there on the left holding the trophy up, and his co-driver on the right there is Bill Whittington. And I don't know if you guys know anything about the Whittington brothers, but at one point they bought Road Atlanta in Georgia, the racetrack, and because the back stretch was long enough to land planes on, and they were flying cocaine from Colombia into the racetrack. One of them went to prison for a while, but it's just sort of interesting that he co-drove that car. But if you look up the Whittington brothers, they're pretty notorious. But that car, unfortunately, looks like this right now. It's sort of awaiting its turn to get restored. It got some extra duty as a SCCA car for several years, and then it's just sort of been setting. So that's several project cars that's just sitting there. Sort of my newest project is this thing, and you're probably thinking, that's not an AMC, and you're correct. That's some sort of weird Mercury. But it's sitting on an old period correct NASCAR chassis from the early 70s. Sort of see what it looks like inside there. I've always wanted to do a NASCAR Matador, the early one, the boxy one. Things never really worked out. And then through actually the book, I met a lot of NASCAR personalities. You know, one of them said, hey, I got this chassis. If you're interested in it, it'll fit a Matador body. This car's currently in North Carolina, and they're going to start working on it in North Carolina. Actually, Darrell Bryant, who was on the Javelin team, his son, Shannon Bryant, owns a fabrication shop for race cars back outside of Charlotte. So he's going to help me sort of start getting it together. There's the donor body that's going to go on the car. Eventually, hopefully it looks like this. The 366 engine I already have. Actually, those wheels on there, those double center Holman Moody wheels, real hard to find. Again, through working on the book, one of those old NASCAR guys said, that's why I drove out to the last time I went to Charlotte was I drove out there because he said, hey, I got to sell those Holman Moody wheels, but you got to come get them. I'm not going to, ship them. So I spent a week out visiting, and I ended up going to the Carolina AMO show for at least a day while I was there. This is my latest project. Like I need any more projects, is to recreate this car. And I think I got another video here. Okay, real quick. This is Dick Hutcherson. Hutcherson and Pagan built the Matadors for Penske initially. So that's him talking here.
Roger Penske come along, wanted us to do the Matador for him. So we did that, and at that time we'd build the car, we'd take it to the racetrack and crew it, the whole bit, and Mark Donahue was driving the car. And it was tough, but then it just kept snowballing a little bit.
The Penske crew did a great job on Donahue's car. They get him out quick, and the Matador has the lead. Mark's Matador is number one and moving away. He's outlasted most of the competition. Petty went out with a broken timing chain. Fastest qualifier David Pearson had the clutch let go in his Purelator Mercury. And Buddy Baker went out early in the race when his K&K Dodge lost oil pressure. All of which means there's a lot of top drivers watching in the pits as Mark Donahue pilots his American Motors Matador under the checkered flag. Winner of the Winston Western 500.
That's the 1973 race at Riverside, the Winston Western 500 that it was Penske's first NASCAR win. Obviously, Mark Donahue's first NASCAR win. So it doesn't look quite like the one in this picture, but the decals are arranged in a different order. But the one from the Riverside win is what we're gonna model that next Matador project car after. And that'll probably take me several years, the way it's sitting now and just the time people have to work on it.
You gonna make it street legal, Adam?
No, it'll probably just be a full race car.
Okay.
And the chassis was made by a guy named Banjo Matthews, a very famous chassis builder back then. It's rear steer, which becomes challenging because it interferes with you either have to dry sump or do something different because the pan's in the way. The parts are very hard to find. The front end parts, like weird things like the idler arm, are extremely hard to find. So it's going to take a while for this thing to ever get done. But in a weird twist, I actually have an engine that's mostly NASCAR parts that I was building for another project like 5 years ago, and the guy's finally almost done with the engine. So in a weird twist, the engine I need for this car with the right cubic inches, the right build, the right parts is almost done. So but it'll probably take a while to get the chassis put together and then the sheet metal hung on it, and then I'll get it back at that point. But I bought this building and it used to look like this, the Chrysler dealership that was built in the 40s. And it's where I house most of my AMC cars and parts. But it's over in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, where my mom lives. So you could buy it was cheaper than a new pickup truck, or probably most used pickup trucks, believe it or not. I spent a lot of my weekends over there working on this building, restoring it and just trying to get it cleaned up and all these sort of things. But that's where most of my cars live. Tom, graciously calls me a special guest, but I'm just an AMC guy who has some sort of probably mental illness that has pushed me down this road to really dig into the race history, mostly the NASCAR, Trans Am, and IMSA stuff. I feel like the drag racing stuff's pretty well covered. I've done a lot of just research over the years and found stuff, and it's getting harder to find stuff. But then also, the sort of digital age, a lot of things are popping up that may have not existed before.
Wow. Incredible. Really, really mind-blowing. I've been reading on Facebook about some crazy guy that bought an old dealership in Nebraska. And this is P.O. Wallen from Sweden. And we drove through Nebraska 3 days ago on our way to the Rambler Ranch. I didn't know it was you, Adam, who bought this building, but I'd read something on Facebook about a guy who bought an old dealership, and I recognized the picture. That's fantastic. You got a book coming out. You bought an old dealership. You're filling it with restored race cars. Really impressive. Awesome, Adam.